you had to round. It's just a square chain link, so I had to round them, slice them, cut them, polish them, and then weld them each single link.
All right, here we go. Welcome to another episode of My Bike. Here with Johnny. What's going on? And we're gonna talk all things motorcycles today.
Heck yeah!
So thanks for making time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'd love to know, first question, how'd you get into motorcycles?
Well, I feel like motorcycles have kind of always been in my life one way or another, but I started racing BMX when I was probably like 6, and that's kind of like the poor man's motocross. And being from Riverside, California, that's kind of a hotbed in the 90s and early 2000s of like motocross culture, and that whole environment is where it was all happening. So I think it was always in my periphery, and we always emulated, the Jerry McGrath types and all the supercross guys. That's what we wanted to be, and we were wearing that gear, just racing BMX. So I think it was always gonna happen for me, just financially needed to get there. And I think at 12, I got my first dirt bike, and that was a 1980 XR80.
Nice.
So that was a clap wagon for that time too. I was not cool. I'm not that old. So that was probably in the early 2000s, like maybe 02 or 01 or something. So that was not a cool bike. So you had to kind of make it cool a little bit. Yeah. But I think that was probably about the start of it.
Yeah.
But
did you race or anything with that bike, or just
motocross?
Yeah.
No, I've never raced motocross before. I actually did my first couple motorcycle races within the past 2 years. So was very late to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Late to the game.
And that's probably it for me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your bike, dude.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, first off, what bike is it?
Yeah.
And how'd you get it? Did you build it from scratch? Tell me the story of it.
Yeah. So it's a 1973 Shovelhead. I got it from my dad's cousin. It was originally a pretty much stock Electra Glide. I had actually ridden it, and I totally forgot about this when I was like maybe 19 or 20, just down the street, and almost dumped it because it had this huge bags, this huge fairing on it, and I totally forgot that happened. But yeah, it was sitting in he bought a Dyna and then just never started the bike again. So it's probably sitting for, I don't know, at least 15 years. Really? So I got it from him in like 2021 or 2, and then it just sat in my garage for a couple of years till I had the resources to tear into it. But yeah, I tore this bike all the way down to nothing. The transmission was something different, so I got a different transmission. I got a ratchet top. They pulled the ratchet top that was in there, had a rotary top. It had a belt drive rear, but belt front or chain front. Yeah. It was a bunch of, I got a smoking deal on it, and that went away entirely with me having to replace everything. But yeah, I tore it all the way down to the bottom end, put a new cam, everything in the rocker boxes are new, push rods. The bore was decent, so I just ball honed it, cleaned it up, and the pistons looked good. And they had some S&S pistons in there. I didn't want to replace those, and they're a very specific bore from what I was looking up.
Did you come from mechanical knowledge? Like, how'd you?
No, man, I don't know anything.
Get a manual or watch YouTube?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Like, I've grown up working on things, bicycles and stuff, but never, and some dirt bikes, but never this deep. And I think just before this, I had to do a top end with my buddy on one of my dirt bikes. So, I mean, really, I don't know anything. I still don't know anything, but I feel less scared to tear into stuff and do the research. And you have manuals, you got YouTube, Pacific Mike will help you.
Do that guy, man.
Yeah.
Rock star.
He helped a lot, and that was kind of it. And then you just start meeting old timers here that'll help you with this. You pick up little bits of knowledge there, and you just kind of go for it. Yeah. And that's all this was. I mean, this was very much just me in this shop trying to figure things out one little bite at a time. Yeah. But yeah, I painted this. I did all the body work. Rec Metals hardtailed it. They made the struts for me. That was before I had ever welded before. Since then, I bought a welder, trying to figure out how to weld. So I've done a lot of welding on this, but they did the most structural stuff that I still don't think I would want to tackle that. Maybe, I don't know. But you need frame jigs and all this other stuff to accommodate that. But yeah, man, I did all the polish work. I like almost everything on here, minus the exhaust and like the oil tank, is not chrome. It's all polished.
Which is crazy because it literally looks like
It
chrome.
it literally is crazy because that's just way too much time and energy. It's like psychotic, but like that, I think that's kind of what's cool about choppers, and that's the allure to them, is it's not practical. It's not rational. It's pretty psychotic, but if you want it, you got to make it happen. And that's that. I don't know. That's kind of like that's what draws me to this kind of stuff. Is it's you just put all your time into it. It's better than being out partying or doing anything stupid. You got to waste your life with something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have this bike as it sits like in mind, or was it kind of a process of evolving as you built it? Oh, I wanted a different front end setup, than you
Yeah.
obviously had in mind.
Honestly, no. This was exactly to the T. Before having any parts, this is what I wanted. This is the exhaust I wanted. This is the front end. This is the wheel. I wanted a 21. I wanted an 18, but my buddy had a 19, so I went even bigger.
Which is huge.
It's huge. It's not ideal when you need to probably change that tire or tube or something. You got to take the whole rear end off to get to it. But yeah, every little thing. I mean, there's little things where I'm like, oh, I should tweak this. This is off. Let's do something different with this. But yeah, I like drew this with colored pencils, even with the color. Yeah, I did that with my last bike too. It's like I just had a vision and I stuck to it and did what I could to execute on it. And of course, there's little tweaks here and there that you're like, oh, this would be cool. But yeah, like even these risers, I this is what I wanted, but I couldn't find them. I don't know where to find them, so I had to make them. And I had some other stuff where I'm like, well, I made some other risers work that kind of did the same pullback, but I was like, that's not what was in my head. I got to take those off.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is it, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And
do you have a favorite part or aspect of this?
It changed almost every time you got a part. This new part was your favorite part, or this is what you wanted. But like, I think now the risers were definitely my favorite, just because like I made them more or less, and they're unique. But I think these lowers were the coolest thing, and I didn't want to spring for it. And this dude was not going to make them anymore, and he posted up that he had like a scratch and dent set that he was going to sell for cheap, and then he's done making them, and they're the exact length, for the exact tubes that I needed with a brake tab. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to just spring for it. You gotta do it.
Swipe that credit.
Yeah. And I had lowers. I had chrome wide glide lowers, but they were old chrome and they were cool, but they had all the tabs on them. I was just gonna rock them, but it was not what was in my head.
Yeah.
So I bit the bullet and upgraded those. But this was such a slow process. It's like money just kind of slowly comes and goes. I mean, this was kind of a 3-year project, so pretty much. But 2025 was when this whole bike came together. So you might be accumulating parts for 3 years, whatever, saving money, selling this to buy that. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's a hustle.
And then it's like 6 months of just like balls to the wall,
stressing yourself for no reason. Who cares? Why are you losing your mind over this? But I think that's kind of part of it. You gotta, and I'm kind of the type where I have to put a bunch of pressure on myself or I won't get it done. So
what was your goal? Did you have a goal?
I had a goal for the summer.
Done by this.
Yeah, I had a goal for like August. And then I was really like, I wanted it to be done in riding for Party at the Pin, but not like, if it didn't, I wasn't gonna trip on it, but like it was supposed to be. I was hitting every goal that I wanted to, and I was gonna have plenty of time. And then the whole B-side, the whole primary, just absolutely screwed me, and there was just a bunch of weird oddball things, and I'd ask friends and they're like, yeah man, I don't know, I've never dealt with that, it's never been an issue with me. Just weird spacing. I've ended up figuring it out, but it took longer than it should have.
That's cool, man. You did such a good job.
Thanks, man.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a phenomenal machine.
Yeah, I can't wait to ride it.
You should be super proud of it.
Thanks. I am, and I'm never gonna sell it. This is staying with me. There may be some tweaks on it here and there, but I built it knowing, and I spared I spared a lot of expenses by doing everything I can myself. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not redoing this, and this ain't gonna be on a raffle in 6 months. So just build it the way you want it. No shade to anyone doing that. I'm just like, this was kind of a family bike more or less, and I just wanted to keep it that way. This stuff is too expensive. Yeah. And this is too, I don't know how people do it, man. This is insane. This costs way too much money, even when you do everything yourself. So doing this every 6 months or a year or 2 years just seems wild to me.
Do you have like a favorite memory? Doesn't necessarily have to be this bike, could be another bike involving motorcycles or anything like that?
I mean, certainly a lot with like dirt bike riding and doing that with my dad and his buddies and some of my buddies, going on like crazy trail rides where you have those stories where someone breaks down and something just gets weird and you're out in the desert, there's no cell phone service. I'm sure that's plenty people have that stories on the road on their choppers. I have more of those stories coming from that background. I've got enough taste of oh shit moments to be like, all right, I've got stories, but anything specifically doesn't really come to mind. But I think I have more stories and connections with this stuff just working on them, being in the shop. You know, you meet a lot of people in motorcycles, and you hear a lot of stories or videos like this and all this big community stuff, which I've definitely experienced. But for me, it's just been alone in the shop, honed in, trying to figure this stuff out.
So tell me, what is motorcycle culture? What does it mean to you? What do you love about it?
Yeah, it's a good question. Motorcycle culture, I think, is a little bit different for everyone. And I think it's also probably the same too, as vague as that is. I don't know much about like the scene of everything or being involved, but like for me, choppers specifically and motorcycles is kind of like the perfect accumulation of everything I've ever been into, kind of combining. We've heard it before, you know, like I've been into skateboarding, BMX, motocross, graffiti, art, like all of it just kind of spins into one. And then this is kind of at my age where it kind of all accumulates. It scratches every itch that you would have. And like growing up, my parents didn't have very much money, so I didn't go without, but you had to like make what you got work. You had to make it cool. So everything I've ever owned has always been custom, tweaked, modified, stickered, whatever. You get some hand-me-down skateboard, you sand it down, blast it with stickers, make it look sick. Same with bicycles. You get something that was used from someone else's vision, and then you're like, well, I don't have the money to get the cool stuff that the cool kids have, so you're like, how do I make what I have
work for you,
work for me, and also get these kids that have the cool shit bummed that they don't have what you got? And I think choppers is that, like, you can't just buy this. You have to make it or win it in a raffle. You have to, you have to find these parts. You have to cobble this stuff together. And a lot of this is from catalogs and stuff, but like someone had to lace these wheels. You have to find every little bit. And unless you bought someone's chopper that was kind of a good base level for 10 or 11 grand, which I wasn't going to do that, and then spend how much money to make it yours. And it's always still that other guy's bike. Because it is. You get some ratty electric glide like I got, and you just take everything off, rip it off, and then you buy stuff. Luckily, what's so cool is with a Harley, there's so much support. There's so many cool brands making cool parts. Like I don't have to go find that rare Wassel tank and fender. I could just buy it lowbrow. And say you know, this is a Paco exhaust. It's probably not that hard to make, but I'm not gonna make it. I don't have the tools for that.
You don't have a chroming station?
No, but if it's stainless, I can polish it, so I at least can do that. But yeah, it's I think that everything I was into kind of just it meets me here. And growing up as kids, like we were on BMX bikes or skateboards, and we're like trying to get places, it's freedom. It's having your own sense of being, as well as like this custom stuff kind of like shows who you are, as whatever that means. But I think, you graduate from bicycles, we'd have beach cruisers, we can get a little further. We'd have tweaked, switch stuff on these. Then you get a road bike. When you road bikes, well, all this stuff breaks. There's too many brakes and gears and all this stuff. So me and my friends got into fixed gears like when we were like 16, and it's like, it's easy. It's a chopper for a bicycle that'll get you far. And then you're like, well, now the bicycle doesn't get me very far. And like, what am I going to do with chicks? Like that's not going to happen. So then you get a motorcycle. And then, I think my first bike was like a little cafe racer at like 19, and it just keeps kind of graduating. And then you got to tear that up and chop this and spray paint that and make it your own. Kind of take the kook out of it and put your own kook into it. And it's kept going. This was always what I wanted, and it just takes a long time to responsibly get one of these. A lot of people do it.
And I feel like every previous bicycle, motorcycle has like played a role in that story of leading to this.
Absolutely.
You
learn, that one bike, you debadged the tank, and then you did a little Mondo work, and then you painted it. Well, I freaking bondoed this whole motorcycle. I wouldn't have done that without having to trip on that. And I remember I found a broken skateboard on my street that was brand new. Someone just snapped it. And my dad hated skateboarding, but he's like, we can fix that. So we fiberglassed it. It's like, how much?
Really?
Yeah, it's so stupid. The thing was like 12 pounds. And how much did he pay to go to O'Reilly or to get fiberglass stuff? And we did bodywork. That was the first time I did bodywork, maybe like 11.
Oh my gosh.
And it's absolutely stupid. We could have just bought a $30 skateboard new, but we learned something. We learned something. I had a 35-pound skateboard. I think these old machines they're not easy. I don't want to belittle it. I still don't know what I'm doing, but like, it's approachable. There's information. You can figure it out. There's people you can ask. And the internet, man. I don't know what people were doing without the internet. I would be dead in a couple weeks without it. So
no way.
There's no way. Yeah.
That raises a good point though about, if somebody's like watching this video and they're wanting to like, maybe it's an old cafe racer, if it's a Harley or whatever it is, and get into customizing it, what advice would you give somebody like that?
I definitely have a lot of advice because I've learned a lot of things the hard way, even the hardest ways, a lot of times financially. I think the first bit of advice is just get into it. Just get something. Just do it. But also know what you're capable of when you start, and kind of get an understanding of what you think you can do. But also, like, if you're really wanting a 1200cc motorcycle or something a little bigger, just start there. Because it costs the same amount of money to rebuild an old CB or a Yamaha 650, a Triumph, a Harley. It costs the same amount of money to redo a whole top end, get all the internals, get all the wheels, tanks, all that stuff costs the same amount of money. So if you're into it and you're going to spend the money, I don't want to say wait, but like, just get what you want originally, because you'll waste so many years and time on stuff that wasn't really what you wanted to begin with. And it's expensive. This stuff is super expensive. And also, don't let other people's definitions of cool define yours. I think that's a huge mistake. I'm sure we all fall victim of it at some point, but like, man, there's nothing wrong with like 80s, 90s Harley stuff. Get a Softail, get an Evo. I mean, if you want a Shovelhead, get one, but just know the price of this stuff is just crazy. And I think if you're a young buck in your early 20s, this is financially irresponsible. Like, don't do this. That's why I didn't do it in my 20s. That's all I was thinking about. But I had the piece of shit, Yamahas and Kawasaki's and whatever. And honestly, at the end of the day, man, most chicks do not know the difference between your Evo Sportster and a knucklehead. So if you're in it to impress your boys,
My wife cannot tell the difference.
no,
At all.
but does it run? They know the difference between that. Can you guys go get some food, go to the bar, whatever,
Yeah.
go on a trip? Well, that's more important than,
Is it comfortable? That's all my wife cares about.
yeah. And it's like, you can spend your whole life trying to impress some dudes that aren't going to like you anyways.
Yeah.
So don't even waste your time with that. And I feel like it's a huge trapping of your 20s, is just trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Just do it. That's what's cool.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Make it happen. Make your vision, whatever that is. And, you know, keep your standards low.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good advice, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
If your standards are low, you're going to hit them. You're going to hit them. And then increase them from there. Yeah. You know, don't compare yourself to...
I think your standards definitely have raised from fiberglassing a skateboard back to now this.
For sure. And this is a bit of a sickness, I think. But I knew I could do it. And I knew waiting 3 years and taking my time, figuring it out, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Did I miss out of 3 years of riding and doing cool stuff? I absolutely did. Whatever. I was willing to do that.
Well, you got something you're proud of.
I do.
Yeah.
And I think that feeling for me outweighs anything else. And I'm not the type that wants to just go pound miles and do all this stuff, do crazy. I think it's fun. I would like to do it, but I get a lot of that out on my dirt bike.
Yeah.
So like hanging out with your boys and doing camping trips and all that stuff. That's where I do that. But that's like a tool. That isn't a cool, it's a cool machine, but that's just like this is something more. I don't want to call it art, but like
I mean, it is art.
It touched more of my artistic, whatever than it does that. Like, I don't care what that looks like. As long as it rides good. I need it. It's performance. There's no performance in this.
Yeah. Any other people you want to give a shout out to, or anything like that?
Absolutely. Anyone that took my phone calls, whether you helped me or not, at least you listened to me when I needed it. Talked myself off the cliff. My buddy Jerry, who the last few bikes he's let me take over his paint booth, and just watched me, especially on this one. He's like, I'm not doing, you're doing it. And I'm like, well, that's what I want. But he let me use his whole heated paint booth, so I'm like, cool. And definitely my girlfriend Ronnie for putting up with this shit. There was a lot of neglect there. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
But she got to listen to me melt down a few times. But yeah, my buddy Trevor for like getting some stuff CNC'd for me, or whatever you call it. I don't know, 3D cut some stainless that he cut up for me. And my buddy Phil for taking my phone calls. He's helped me out a lot. If anything, just to listen to the crying that's involved with this. You don't know what you're doing. Yeah, sorry if I forgot anybody, but yeah, that's...
Well, thanks for making some time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Story and your bike, and look forward to seeing more of it. Obviously, follow Jonny Dirt on social.
Yeah.
Keep up with what's going on.
Not much after this. Giving it a break.
No, you got cool sunset photos with your dirt bike.
Yeah, well, there'll be some of that, you know. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Instagramming your chopper.
Instagramming your chopper. Yeah. Cool, dude. All right, man.
Right.
That's it.
Cool. Thanks. Right on.